Welcome to our channel. Hope today is a great day for you. Subscribe and ring our channel to receive new videos every week.
I intended to propose to my 3-year fiancée. Now I'm terrible at choosing jewellery, so if I need to buy anything for my girl, I normally ask one of our mutual acquaintances for advice. I'm friends with all of my girl's best friends and we all get along, so I'm used to enlisting their assistance for selecting jewellery. When it came to choosing a ring, I turned to Justine, my girlfriend's best friend. Justine and I are great friends, and she knows more about my girlfriend than anybody else, including myself. So, when my girlfriend was off visiting her sister and infant nephew, I brought Justine over to assist me choose a ring. We decided that going to a jewellery store with specialists would be a better option. However, because I had no idea when my girlfriend would return, Justine and I devised a creative text to estimate how much time we had. I was ordering takeout and needed to know when to tell them to have the food ready by, so I asked her when she'd be home. She replied that it would be a few hours and that she would meet Justine to go shopping. Since Justine was standing inside my house, this definitely caught me by surprise. When I showed Justine the text, she seemed just as confused as I did. I remembered she was updating her location on my phone using iCloud, so I opened the location to track her down. I knew it was invading her privacy, but I was just curious. The location showed that she was at a hotel far away from the city. Justine told me that we should follow her. I agreed. She's a highly impulsive person who enjoys creating arrangements at the last minute, so I would have believed this text in a heartbeat. However, obviously this had to be a lie. We traced the hotel. We looked at every room that had her. Suddenly, when we crossed the room on the top floor, we heard some heavy breathing and moaning that there was only one room someone had rented. Me and my girlfriend were staying for a long time, so I was pretty sure it was her. Me and Justine stayed closer and heard two people who were having intercourse. I was extremely shocked. My girlfriend was cheating on me and had sex with another man, lying to me. I didn't intend to expose them since I was quite numb, so I told Justine to come home. When she got home, she pretended to be fully normal, and I went along with it, but it's been difficult to keep up the pretense. I can't stop staring at her, and I'm at a total loss as what do I do, because my partner and I have no issues with trust, and we tell each other everything, but this cheating is killing me. So what should I do now? I'm not sure how I'm going to confront her about it, and this isn't going to go away. Please help.
Storytime of how my entire virtual online class found out that I was pregnant, and one of them ended up telling my mom. So due to COVID, where I live, there is no in-person school, so everybody is virtual. So I was in my first block, and you only have to turn on your cameras for when she does attendance, and then when you're talking. So I was called on, and I had to answer questions, so I unmuted myself, and I turned on my camera. And then when I was done, I turned off my camera, and I think I forgot to mute myself back. After that, during that week, I was already having a pregnancy scare, so I FaceTimed my boyfriend, and I went to go take a pregnancy test. Mind you, I don't really listen in class to begin with, so I turned the volume all the way back down because when the teacher calls on you once, she doesn't call on you again. So again, I couldn't hear anything happening in the classroom. So I was on the phone with my boyfriend. I was freaking out while I was taking a pregnancy test, and it ended up coming back positive. So I started freaking out and I started bawling my eyes out. And in my room, I was screaming, I'm pregnant, what am I gonna do? I look back over and the session had ended. And everyone in that class is texting me like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm here for you, blah, 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 blah. So of course I start to freak out. I texted a couple of them back and I was like, how did you know? And they were like, we heard you sobbing in the background screaming, I'm pregnant. Then one of them goes, we heard some guy in the background screaming, just get a hanger, and you were screaming, no. Then one of them comes to tell me that the teacher had to start a brand new class because I wouldn't mute myself. So then I emailed my teacher and I told her that I was going through a really hard time and I really do apologize. And then she explained to me that everything was fine, like she understands things happen. So we were all good until like 3 days later. And my mom calls me telling me that somebody in my class had told her that I am pregnant. And I tried telling her like, no, like that is not true. That is not true whatsoever. And then she sends me a recording that somebody else sent her of me in my room bawling my eyes out screaming, I'm pregnant, I don't know what to do. So somebody in my class was a big old snitch and sent a recording of me screaming I'm pregnant to my mom. And my mom is trying to force me to get an abortion, but I don't want to. To sum it up, I'm moving in with my grandma because she's super, super supportive. And in 3 months, I'll be having a baby boy.
My fiance broke off our wedding because of his best friend. So I met this guy, let's call him Caleb. When I first laid eyes on him, he was instantly the love of my life. He was captain of the football team at our college, and I was the captain cheerleader. It was bound for us to date eventually. So he went up to me one day and asked me out, and his friends got hyped up. Surprisingly, we actually got along. He would take me out on dates twice a week, and we would text and communicate regularly. Rumors started flying around about him being gay at some point, but I quickly shut those down, as did he. We completely forgot it at some point. Then he got a best friend, let's call him Miles, and they were like two peas in a pod. They didn't act gay though, so I didn't suspect anything. We continued dating for 4 years. What happened in between this timeline was we actually got a pet dog together and we ended up living together. Eventually, he proposed. I could finally have my dream wedding. He was a famous football player and I was a stay-at-home wife, so he made bank. We planned our wedding, but as we kept planning our wedding, his best friend Miles kept coming around. One day, I wanted to have an intimate moment with him and he just declined. And he never does this, and I suspected something was up. So I checked his phone and I was reading a conversation about how Caleb was a little scared and nervous and was asking if he was making the right decision. Miles said that he was, but it looks like there was some deleted text in their conversation. I called Caleb in and asked him what this was about, and he said he was concerned of why I was snooping in his phone. I told him this was my only way of knowing what was wrong, since I assumed that he couldn't tell me himself. Which I knew what was wrong for, but I would later on apologize. I just wanted to know what was wrong, and I definitely didn't want to waste any time. He claims that he just got the marriage jitters and thought my parents didn't like him and didn't want to put me through that, even though that made absolute zero sense. I told him my parents loved him. They can be a bit harsh and a little bit overprotective at times, but they most definitely do, and he said that he was reassured. I apologized for looking through his phone and we continued to live life normally after that. 3 weeks later, we had the wedding. I was in the most beautiful dress and the wedding was near a literal waterfall. It was beautiful. I walked up the aisle, we said our vows, and we asked if anyone objected. Then, his best friend Miles stood up. He had confessed that he had been in love with me the entire time. I just stood there in shock and I was super confused. Because if anything, I thought that he was in love with the groom. And I barely know the guy, so how can you be in love with me? Then my fiance was upset and admitted that he was in love with him the entire time. So let me get this straight. His best friend was in love with me, and my fiance was in love with his best friend. Everyone just stood there in shock. My fiance literally walked off the stage and shouted out that the wedding is off. I was confused and shocked, but I didn't want the venue to go to waste. So I just decided to impulsively pretend to marry his best friend instead. So we ended up having a good time, and me and his best friend actually started dating. And now he's my fiance 3 years later. I checked the social medias to see how he's doing because I was curious, and it turns out he's now homeless. That's kind of sad. I guess karma is served to those who deserve it.